Alright, we back like juggernauts, bitches. Alex, Lexus, Shinwar on your knees. Shout out to Nelson. They're doing something in his house and whatnot. Shout out to NYC Playboy. Didn't forget about you. I just don't have you guys on my Skype, so I'm gonna have that set up momentarily. But also, the next topic at hand, Banjo Kazooie. We know that that was a franchise that made a buttload of money, and now I don't know what's happening. Like, Chris, who was the developer? Wasn't that Rare?
I believe it was Rare.
Yeah, I think it was Rare.
Yeah, now, here's my thing. If Rare had the rights to it and Microsoft with their resources in terms of money, why didn't Microsoft just pick it up?
Oh, hold on. Let's take a look, shall we? Banjo Kazooie.
Yeah,
There we go.
because they picked up Killer Instinct. They got Battletoads. I mean, you would think all the IPs that Rare had would get picked up by Microsoft.
Actually, it was worked on 4J Studios for Xbox Live Arcade. So I don't know who actually owns it.
Maybe it's one of those things like with Double Dragon.
Well, it might be owned by well, it was published by Microsoft Game Studios. I'd have to look up to see who actually owns it. Development, here we go, was developed by the same team that did Donkey Kong Country 2. Development of the game for the NES.
Yeah, that was Rare.
Use Rare's ACM. Okay, Donkey Kong.
TikTok.
I know, right?
That's cool. That's cool. You see, I wish I had the chat up, but I'm pretty sure Slinky Jim might have some info. But with that being said, New Gaming Order fans, there's a spiritual successor, and it's Kickstarter that was set up for a sequel, but like, again, in spirit. And Chris, what was the time that the company made their goal in terms of funding?
It made it in drumroll, please. I'm stalling because I'm looking for the exact number.
You said 40 minutes.
40 minutes.
Wow.
And yeah, they were looking for 175,000 pounds, so roughly 250,000 US. I'm thinking, and they're currently with 39 days to go.
Wow. Now
they're at 1.4. They're at 1.4 million pounds.
Now that goes to show you. Okay, let's say fighting games, had like a Kickstarter-esque format. Like, would that be a good thing? Because look, people, if they want something, they'll pay for it or they'll help fund it. And considering now what's happening with development studios, like with Konami, like you're not gonna get a lot of AAA titles anymore, but you'll probably have like smaller studios asking for donations to get. It's like a pay-per-view type thing. You want it? Help us out. You know what I mean? Shinwa, what do you think? Do you think that would be a good thing going forward? And I mean, obviously these people want this game, and they reached their goal in 40 minutes.
Yeah, that's whew.
Yeah, people were hungry for the game, so they threw money. But I'll talk more about that when it's my turn.
Right. It seems like the fans, are funding it. So, if the fans fund it, hey, and they meet the conditions and whatever, that might be maybe a new business model, perhaps. Some people may see it like, well, you're reaching out to the people for them to pay for it. Why aren't you why don't you fund it yourself? And then we got to go back and buy the game.
No, but I think if you donate to a Kickstarter, you're supposed to get the game. If I'm not mistaken.
if you pledge enough, you get the game. Like let me see, console digital. Yeah, for 15 pounds you get the console edition, and for $10 you got the Steam edition.
That's cool. Then that's cool. That's fine.
Yeah, a lot of video game Kickstarters are like that.
You know what? I'm gonna bring up something, and I know it's a dead. I know I'm beating a dead horse, but if Capcom was having problems with Street Fighter V, they should have just did a Kickstarter for it. You know how much money they would have made to make it multi-console?
I don't think people would contribute to Capcom for Kickstarter.
For Street Fighter though, for Street Fighter, I think they would. What do you think, Shinor?
They don't trust Capcom. That's my advice. That's my thesis.
I don't think it would have worked only because of the Capcom Pro Tour, because you got Sony that helped them out even with that tour. So I think they were looking down the long run, not just for the game, but looking at this Pro Tour. Because they're looking at the tournament players. That's where they're really trying to. So I don't think it was just for the game, but it's looked like they're trying to have a completely different movement for it. So they went to Sony for that funding. So,
but Kickstarters I think would be interesting. But my only fear is, okay, with this game coming out, it met less than an hour. It got its financial goal met. Will the game not have glitches? Will the game look at what Cross Tekken, other games like on PC, like Alien Isolation, where the boss, you can actually do something to the mother alien where she'll just walk in circles and all you have to do is just keep shooting her. Final boss. You know what I mean?
Oh wow.
So it's like I worry, and this is a game that had investors like, hey, we're gonna give you this money like Shark Tank, and we want you to turn this profit, and then they mess it up. You know what I mean?
Well, you're talking about the shitty Aliens game, right?
Yes.
Well, that's a whole other mess with that was 2K Games. They were funneling that money into Borderlands 2.
Unbelievable.
And that's why it was. And Sega didn't want to sue them for whatever reason, which they probably should have, and they probably would have won.
They would have won.
They probably would have won. But yeah, that just don't trust 2K Games with any products. If it's outside of Borderlands, don't trust 2K.
2K15, anyone?
No comment.
We're on the same page.
People say I'm too pessimistic, but I think I called that one too. I called that one as soon as I found out about that, a year ago or whatever it was.
But you see, the funny thing.
Yeah, the 2K thing. As soon as that broke out when Colonial Marines came out, that game was garbage, and it came out that 2K was funneling the money into Borderlands 2. That's why the game was. That's why the game was in development for 6 years. They had next to no one working on it.
You know what, Chris? Anything on the chat before?
Oh, let me check because I was looking up something. Because Slinky Jim, that would look weak. I kind of like that game. I'm not sure what game he's talking about. I wasn't actually keeping an eye on it, but I was doing research for my point that I was going to make.
Okay.
So in regards to that, with any kind of Kickstarter, if there is a demand for a game and major publishers aren't fulfilling it, there will be people donating. Like I donated to Star Citizen. I talked about this before. Last we left off, or last I remember, they were looking for 150,000. They hit their goal, and they were upwards of 20 million. They're over $65 million funded.
$1 million. Lex Luthor style, Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, so they're way past Kickstarter. They've been selling ships and in-game stuff. Star Citizen's supposed to be like your wing commanders, I think the Descent Free Space, your X-wing TIE fighter space shooters, where you're actually in the cockpit flying around. That genre has been someone's game music's coming on. That game genre has been severely underrepresented. There were a couple games recently, but they didn't hit the mark.
Yeah.
So that just shows you this genre was starving for people people were starving for this genre, and any AAA title could have made a shitload of money if they just made the game. But for whatever reason, it fell out of favor. Maybe enough time has passed where people they had their nostalgia hell when they first announced this. I downloaded and played Free Space 1 and 2 again.
Okay.
But so then they're still in development, but they have alphas out now, and my computer's still nowhere near powerful enough to play the game because it used the Crysis 3 engine, so it's got ridiculous graphics. My computer cries when I try to load it up.
We know why your computer cries. Dun, dun, dun.
Well, that's because I fuck it every night, but that's a whole other issue.
Hold on.
Unbelievable. All right. So, Chris, one more sweep of the chat, and then we'll bring this segment to an end.
Let me see here. Yo, NYC Playboy just joined.
Thank you, NYC Playboy. I don't have you on Skype. I know you're on Nelson's list, but I will make sure that that's set up for next week. I promise you that. All right. So, New Gaming Order. We're gonna go into intermission. Make sure you rate, comment, and subscribe. Shout out to Full Screen and to our guests who joined us yesterday. That was a really good podcast. Thank you guys very much. With that, we out like the juggernaut, bitch. Make sure you check out our next segment. Peace.